Okay, so let's have a quick recap what we have discussed in the last session. In the last session, we have discussed about how to create Azure account and how to create a Windows virtual machine. In today's session, we are going to learn about how to connect to our Windows virtual machine, and then we can learn about how to create Linux virtual machine. But before starting on this particular topic, any question anyone have, please let me know. Please raise your hand if you have any question. Anyone have any question? Let's no one has any questions. So let's start with the today's topic where we are going to continue with this Windows virtual machine. So first of all, let me log into my Azure account. So I'm able to log into my Azure account. Let's go to virtual machine and we have to create our Windows virtual machine because we didn't click on create in the yesterday session. So create virtual machine. So we are going to follow the same steps which we have done in the yesterday session to create our machine. So first of all, we need to select a resource group. Resource group is already there, which we have created in the yesterday session. We have it. And then give the name of our virtual machine. Scroll down. We have to select an image. We are selecting the same image. Size also we are selecting the same one, B1S. And then we have to give the username and password. Username I'm giving as Azure user. Here I'm giving the password. And then we need to enable RDP port, which is by default enabled. Now click on next. Here we are getting it by default size 127 GB for our OS disk. OS disk means like C drive. That's our OS disk we are getting. So this is what we have discussed in the previous session while creating our Windows virtual machine. And there are some more tabs we have it. Regarding these tabs, we will discuss later in our upcoming session. So I'm going to directly click on review plus create. Now, when I click on review plus create, they are going to validate our records, whatever the records we have given it, they are going to validate. So here we got validation pass. So if you got validation pass, now I can click on create. If it's validation failed, I can't click on create. Sometimes in Azure it happens is like even you have given the correct details, still they will give validation failed. It happens sometimes. So what you can do it is just go back to any of the tab, then again click on review plus create. Then they revalidate those details. So it happens sometimes, not every time, sometimes happen. So validation passed. Now click on create. Some time. Now you can see here they are creating multiple things while creating our virtual machine. They are creating public IP, NS network security group, virtual network, network interface. They are creating. Now they are creating virtual machine. Now we got error message here, conflict. Why we are getting error message? This is first time I'm getting error message. Terminal provision state failed. I'm not sure about this error message. This is first time I'm getting error. I'm not sure about this. Let me just cancel it. Status is failed. They give public IP, everything they give. Let me just right there. Just a minute, guys. I'm not sure why we are getting error message. This is first time I'm seeing this error. Oh, they have might be the zone. They're saying the zone which we are using it. Their zone don't have that capacity to create that machine. Might be because we are using a free tier one. In free tier one, they every region have some limitations. So okay, so let me just delete this machine and recreate again. This type of errors you will not get in your organization, but for our free tier one, we are getting it. Okay, so let me create again, give something else name. One. They are saying the zone one. Let's just change to zone two here. Changing here. What is this availability zone? We'll discuss later in upcoming session. So I'm just selecting zone two here. By default was zone one. taking some time. Yeah, taking more time. Then our virtual machine is ready. Now, is our work is completed? No. Now, what we have to do it is we have to learn about how to connect to our Windows virtual machine. To connect to our Windows virtual machine, we have to click on Go to Resource. Now we are under our virtual machine, or I can go to back to home page, go to virtual machine. Here I'm able to see my virtual machine. Click on the virtual machine. Now here I'm able to see which operating system I have selected, what is the resource group, what is the location, the subscription which I have used, the public IP, virtual network subnet. What is virtual network subnet? We will discuss later in our upcoming session. Here I can see the private IP. How we got private IP, we will discuss it once we are learning about virtual network. At that time, you will understand how I'm getting the private IP also. Now, to connect to this particular Windows virtual machine, we need to note down the public IP. So just note down the public IP. Now, in your Windows machine, by default, you have a one software called remote desktop connection. So just go to search bar and type RE. Here I'm getting remote desktop connection. Paste your public IP. Click on show options. Enter your username. Click on connect. Click on connect and enter your password. So, yes, we are able to connect to our Windows virtual machine with the help of remote desktop connection. Now, whatever you want to do in this Windows virtual machine, you can do that. So this is how you can connect to your Windows virtual machine. Now, any question anyone have? Please raise your hand. Yes, you can unmute.
Hi, it's Param here.
Hi.
So, so this we have this creating virtual machine is one of the service or feature available in the cloud, which we created the virtual machines to use for our here. So my question is here. So whatever other services are available as a cloud platform. So is it mandatory to create the virtual machine? Then we have to use the that
Depend
services.
on like your client just want to use for storage purpose, then why you need a virtual
Mhm.
machine? Your client want to just only need a database, then you don't need a virtual machine. It purely depend on requirement to requirement what services your client want to use it. Virtual machine is one of the very common services most of the every client is going to use.
Yeah, got it.
But it's not mandatory that they have to use it. They have more than 200 services Azure have.
Mm. Mm.
Might be your client want to use some other services. They want to use for data warehousing. They have a data warehousing
Mm.
services also. So for data warehouse service, they don't need virtual machines.
Got it.
That's why
And
if you
let's,
they have different
yeah,
different certifications. Under every certification, they have a different services.
yeah. Uh, let's say, yeah, I got you. Let's say we have a scenario called CI/CD process to be taken care by Azure along with the DevOps. So in those cases, those services we should be subscribed or right? Is that
Yes,
correct?
we have a separate service in Azure called DevOps organization.
Hmm.
Under DevOps organization, we are getting the pipelines. CI/CD pipeline, they have a separate service. Under DevOps organization, those pipeline services coming. They have a repository also. Even you don't have to upload your code in GitHub. They have their own repository.
Got it.
So for those things, they don't need virtual machine.
Got it. So in this content, we are covering anything basics of that.
Which
I mean, it's, it's covered, right? In this content.
which thing you're talking about?
The CI/CD
No,
perspective.
this is not a DevOps training.
Okay, I mean, CI/CD perspective in the sense the Azure perspective, I'm telling,
This is not a
not the
DevOps
DevOps.
training. In DevOps,
No, no,
in admin training, nothing is going to cover about CI/CD
I got you. I got you. Yeah,
because those is part of completely about DevOps training. It's not
yeah,
coming under admin job role. If you just think about only job role of admin person, you will not see CI/CD job responsibilities. It is part of
got
DevOps
you.
person.
Got you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, Ankit, I have one question. Like, how we can install the AD in that server manager? Like, just now you opened the server manager, right? So we can install whatever the services we want, right, in the server
Anything
manager.
whichever you feel comfortable, you want to have a requirement, you can install. It's a completely empty machine.
Okay, okay.
So like
So by
whenever you're
default,
buying
server
a
manager,
laptop, it's an empty laptop.
yeah,
You have to install whatever your requirement.
okay. So we can install after that once. And what about the server, this server manager? So it is by default there, right? Server manager.
That's what a Windows. That's the Windows server machine.
Machine. Okay.
You will not find server manager in your local machines because it's
Yeah.
not a server machine. So that's the main
Mhm.
difference. In the local machines which we are using it for customers and for servers. In server manager will be there 100% it will be there.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Ankit.
Anyone have any more question? Okay. Now I'm going to resource group. I'm going to open our resource group. If you see here we have multiple resources, and for every resource we have a different types. Now, once we complete our practice, we have learned how to create Windows virtual machine, and now I don't need that machine anymore. So what we have to do it, we have to delete that virtual machine, and with that virtual machine, they have created some more resources. They have created public IP, they have created network security group, they have created virtual network, disk, network interface they have created. I don't need anything now. So what we have to do it, we have to delete these things. One option is you can go to that particular resource and delete one by one. That's one option, but that's a long process to delete one by one. Easy option is just delete this resource group. If you delete this resource group and under this resource, you have any number of resource, they will delete all the resources. This is a shortcut way for your practice purpose. You can delete all the resources in one single go. But when you click on delete, you have to be make sure this browser is open. Till that time, you're not getting a deleted notification. If you just click on delete and close your browser, it will stop there. So till that time, you're not getting a proper deleted notification. Don't close your browser. So I'm going to click on delete resource group. We have to enter our resource group name. So I'm going to copy from above, paste, delete, delete. Now they start deleting our resource group. See here, deleting. Till that time, I'm not getting a deleted notification. I can't close the browser. If I close, it will stop there. And whenever we are creating virtual machine, they are creating one more resource group by default with the name Network Watcher RG. What is this Network Watcher service? We will discuss in upcoming session. For now, you have to delete this resource group also. But what is this Network Watcher service? We will learn in our upcoming session. Yeah. So make sure whenever we create that resource, after once you complete the practice, you can delete. And in one single resource group, you can keep multiple virtual machines also. I have just deleted, even if I want, I can keep more also. There is no limit. Now, any question anyone have regarding this deletion process, please let me know. Yes, you can unmute.
Why we need to delete those resources?
Okay, I have a question for you. Why you need to keep that resource after completion of your practice?
I mean, yeah, I got that. I mean, we should remove, but I just asking the consequences. Is any implication or anything?
If we don't need that resource, once we complete
Mhm.
our practice. In organization, you're not going to delete anything. But after our practice, we don't need that resource. That's why I'm deleting. I don't want you to keep that particular resource in your account and once your free limitation get completed, you get a bill.
Mm. Got it.
Why you need that resource? My question is again same.
Yeah, got it.
You don't need. So make sure deleted everything. Anyone have any more question? Yes, you can unmute.
Yeah, Ankit. For example, in the like real-time scenario, if somebody raise a request like I want this VPN, like use mention group 425 like that, okay, and he want means
We
he will
need a
mention the,
sorry. You're saying VPN and now you said users group. You
sorry.
have earlier you said VPN, now you are saying resource group. I got
No,
confused here.
resource group. Resource group. For
Okay.
example, if you mention this group 425, and
Hmm.
suppose in that request user mention I want this for a long time, or like he will mention any particular timeline, like from this date to this date I will use this resource. After that you can delete it like that, or what means.
In
Uh,
organization, whatever we are creating, we are not deleting till the time we don't have a proper approval.
okay. Okay.
Don't delete till that time you don't have approval from client. You will lose your job.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
If anyone is saying that they keep it and then you can delete it, don't delete it. Take your
Hmm.
approval from your manager and make it documented, not verbals. Verbally
Okay.
approval. Don't ever
Hmm.
go for verbal approvals. Always take the document on your email or the ticket, whichever get raised. Tag your manager in that one. Once he'll give you approval, then only you
Hmm.
can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So if you not see here, I got the proper notification deleted. Now everything is deleted. Now if I want, I can close my browser. Now we are going to learn about how to create a Linux virtual machine using password. To connect to our Linux virtual machine, there are two ways we have. One is password, other one is SSH key. So first we are learning about password and then we are going to learn about SSH key option in our upcoming session. So to create a virtual machine, what's the first thing is required? We need a resource group. So this time we'll create a resource group while creating our virtual machine. In previous session, we have created a resource group separately from our virtual machine. This time we'll create from here by clicking on create new, giving the name. I'll give the same name group -425. Click on OK. Now we need to give the name to our virtual machine. We have given the name region Central India. Zone, let me change to zone 2. And here we have to select the image. What is image? Operating system. So here I'm getting Ubuntu 1. We have Sushi, we have Oracle, Red Hat, Debian. So we have different Linux-based operating system. I'm going for Ubuntu 24.04 version. So we are selecting the Ubuntu image. Even in our upcoming session, we are going to learn how to create our own images also. If you have a requirement, we can create our own image. Next is size. In size, we are selecting CPU and RAM. So what is my requirement? One CPU and 1 GB of RAM. So for this one, which size we have to select? Standard B1. If you need more, you have to select a different size as per your client requirement. This is going to be decided by the client. You are the one who's not going to decide. Your client will decide based on with the help of developers, because developer knows what they are going to do in this virtual machine. So based on their requirement, you have to select the CPU and RAM. And yes, whenever you want, you can increase CPU and RAM any minute you can do that. Once you get approval from your client, whenever your client want, you can increase this anytime. How to do it, we will learn in upcoming session. So we are selecting CPU and RAM here. Now, here we have the authentication type. With authentication type, we are getting two options. This is what I've told you to connect to our virtual machine. One is SSH public key, other one is password. So in this example, we are learning about password. In our upcoming session, we are going to go for the SSH public key also. Now enter our username and password. Same username, password I'm giving. So we are able to connect to our machine. Now, if you remember in previous session, we have discussed it to connect to our Windows virtual machine. It is mandatory to enable a port number RDP, and the port number is 3389. Same way, if you want to connect to Linux virtual machine, you have to enable a port number SSH. And I'm enabling the chat box. Can you please, if anyone knows, you can let me know what's the port number for SSH, if you're aware of that. I got the correct answers. Correct answer is 22. 22 port number. We have scrolled down. If you see here, here we are. SSH, the port number is 22. So we have given a resource group, we have given the name, we have selected our image, we have selected the size, then we have given username and password, and then we have given the port number SSH. Now click on next. Now, next we are getting it OS disk. And what's the size of our OS disk? 30 GB. 30 GB we are getting it. So for Windows machine, by default, they are giving the minimum size is 127 GB. And for Linux, by default, they are giving us 30 GB. You want to give more than that, you can give more. So for Windows, by default, 127 GB is coming under your free tier quota for Windows machine. 120 till 127 GB. If you give more than 127 GB, that will be chargeable. But in Linux, maximum free quota you are getting is still 64 GB. So if you give between 30 and 64 GB, they will not charge you anything. More than 64 GB if you give, they will charge you. But the minimum requirement for Linux is 30 GB. And for Windows, minimum requirement is 127 GB to create that machine. That's a minimum requirement. Now, other tabs we will discuss later. So just click on Review plus Create. Taking some time. Then validation passed. Now click on Create. Taking some time. Done. So we are able to create our Linux virtual machine. Now click on go to resource. Here we are able to. We can see the resource group, we can see the operating system, public IP, size, virtual network subnet, subscription, we can see here. Now we need to learn about how to connect to our Linux virtual machine. But before that, anyone have any question, please raise your hand. Yes, you can unmute.
Yeah, Ankit, like it is showing here availability zone 2. So what does it mean? Like,
We will discuss about availability zone in upcoming session. There are minimum 3 availability zone we have for every single region. We'll discuss in more details in upcoming session. Even if I explain right now, you can't understand. We have a proper topic for that.
okay. And like when you are creating that Linux machine, at
Mm.
that time one option is there like enable hibernation. So what does it mean?
That's what I said. I can't teach every single thing in one single session, Vibhav. You have to give me
Okay.
some time. We'll slowly discuss other, like even if you notice here, the networking tab is there, the advanced tab is there, tax tab
Yeah.
is there. I'm not teaching about those things. So even there are some more options was also there. So we will discuss every single thing in upcoming sessions. It's not possible for
Okay.
me to teach every single thing. It is not possible for you to learn every single thing in one single session. So
Yeah.
we'll discuss it slowly. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
It's good you're asking question, but give me some. We'll discuss it slowly in upcoming sessions.
Actually, why I ask because when you are creating that Linux server, in that only there is one option to enable
Yeah, even if you
hibernation.
notice it, in Linux one, we are not getting the licensing option. In Windows one,
Yeah,
we were getting the licensing option.
licensing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Windows one is their operating system. That's why they are
Hmm.
giving. In Linux
Okay.
is not their one. So in Linux one, they're going to take care of the licensing.
License. Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Thanks.
Anyone have any more question? Okay, no question. Now, to connect to our Linux virtual machine, also we need some software. Like in Windows machine, we have used remote desktop connection. The same way, to connect to Linux machine, also we need some software to connect to our machine. So with software, we can use it. There are a lot of softwares we have in market, and those softwares are called as terminal. To connect to our Linux machine, we need a terminal. And which terminal I'm going to download? A terminal called as Putty. Why I'm going to use Putty? Because Putty is number one in the market. So go to Google, search, download Putty. So once we click on download Putty, here we are getting the website. It's showing on number 3 right now. You have to click on this website. And by using this website, you can download the Putty. Here is the Putty. So whichever as per your system requirement you are using it, you have to click on putty.exe. Putty.exe you don't have to install, just you have to download. So I'm going to download in our batch 425. Save. Done. So I'm able to download. Usually, whatever the software we are using in Windows machine, we have to install. But Putty, we don't have to install. I can use this without installing. How can I use? Just double click on it. It is open. Now I can access this Putty. So first of all, what we need is we need the public IP of our virtual machine. So again, go to your virtual machine. Now, once I open this virtual machine, here also I can see the public IP. I can see the size, status, location, resource group, operating system, subscription, how many disk we have attached. Showing one disk we are getting it while creating the machine which we have used OS disk. That's one we have. If you want to add more like D drive, E drive, want to add more, you can add more also. We will discuss those also in upcoming session. So let's just note down the public IP. Paste here. Click on open. Click on accept. Now we have to enter our username. What's our username? Azure user. Password. That we are able to connect to our machine. Now, one more thing. In previous session, we have discussed it, the size we are selecting B1S. With B1S, we are getting some additional 4 GB of the hard disk. We are getting it. In Windows, I didn't show you. Even if you connect your Windows machine, if you open your this PC, in that one you will find one. But here I can show you df-h. If you see here I'm getting 3.9 GB. This 29 GB is the by default one we are getting it. The one which we are selecting the disk, OS disk. 30 GB, it's showing 29 GB here. And here that was 4 GB, it's showing 4.9 GB here. So here is that particular disk which is by default they are going to link with our virtual machine based on the size we are going to select. I can go to that particular location. See, there is a text file is there. I can read that file. See here it is. The text of that file. Any data stored on this drive is subject to loss and there is no way to recover it. So this is just for temporary purpose. They have created that particular disk and link with our virtual machine. Like whenever we are creating any machine, we are using any machine, they are using caches and definitely they consume the space. So that's why they have created one additional disk attached with our machine. So they are not going to consume the original space of our disk for which we are paying to them. For this one, we are not paying any extra amount. But for the 130 GB one, we are paying them. So they want us to consume the 30 GB for us, not for these caches and for other things. That's why they are giving this additional space. And this additional space is depend on the size we are selecting. By which one we have selected B1S, with this we are getting 4 GB. But if you go for more sizes, you will get more disk size also. Let me show you again. We can see again. Sorry, as select size we need to go. I was going here it is. 4 GB, 4 GB, 16, 8, 32. So if I select this size B4MS, I'll get 32 GB. In this one, we'll get 64 GB. So 8 CPU, 32 GB of RAM, and 64 GB. And here I'm getting the count of disk I can attach with this size. Data disk. What is data disk? We will discuss later. Right now, we are linking only the OS disk. Data disk is some like additional disk which we want to attach to our machine. We will discuss in upcoming session about data disk. So if you go for this size B2S, you will get 8 GB additional space other than your OS disk and your data disk. So based on the VM size, you have the local disk. Anyone have any question? Please raise your hand. Yes, you can.
Well, sir, so where is the exact data, whatever the exact hard disk we have received that has mentioned,
That's here.
there extra what
This is the one
will be
which
coming?
we have linked while creating our machine OS disk 30 GB which we have selected.
Okay. So in the like wherever like post creating that over there it is not showing, but we can check on going to the server.
No, in that one, OS disk is not showing with the size. It's showing in the next tab, in the disk tab. We have a separate tab for that. See here, it's showing 30
While
GB.
creating, right? This you are choosing while creating, but by the time the notification, like as we see in the rear screen, so there here once we go to the server, once we log into the server, you will see, and by the time you are assigning that time, you can see. But by the time of it get create, that time as we can see the extra days, so likewise it is not showing. At that
I'm
time,
not
whatever
able to
the days they have
understand your
assigned.
question. Can you please repeat
Like
your
the
question again?
notification, yeah, yeah, extra size notification, whichever we saw like recently,
For
the
extra
Mac,
one which you're talking about, yeah, there's no notification we are getting.
review and create once you done. That time it's shown that right. So this money, this much is this is the size, this L1, and this one is the 4 GB. It's just fuzzy. That is extra size. It was showing right.
Yeah,
It is
with
not
size, we are
not
getting this
extra.
extra one. You're talking about this one?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yep.
are
Yep. Yep.
getting,
Yep.
if I go for B2MS, I'll get 16 GB extra space.
Okay.
So
Okay. This is the kind of chart. This is a normal chart they have given, right? Okay, this is not OS size or something.
no,
So
this is
in
not
order
OS
to
disk. That's what I'm saying. We have selected B1S, we got 4 GB additional space. This is not OS disk. OS disk is this 29 GB which showing here, 30 GB. And that's OS disk is in the different tab. You have to go to disk tab. Here is that OS disk.
okay, so the B1S that is a kind of image size.
No, it's not image size. It's a CPU and RAM. Whenever you need
Okay,
to
okay, okay.
buy a computer, with computer you get CPU and RAM also.
Okay, okay.
So B1S
That
is
is
a
the
size for your
extra.
CPU and RAM. Is the name of the size, and under that particular size they have assigned that this much of CPU and RAM you will get.
This, by the time the traffic gets spiked, so that time you will get 4 GB extra
Yes, with
in
this
peak use
size. If you select more
at the
CPU and
server.
more RAM, you will get more extra spaces. But in this extra space, it is clearly mentioned by the Azure, don't save any data.
Anyhow, like on the RAM, we don't store a data. It is
This is
used
not
for the
RAM, this is
processing
hard
only.
disk. This is not RAM. This is not
Okay.
RAM. This is hard
We are
disk,
selecting
additional
size as
hard
a
disk.
RAM, but we are getting hard disk. We are
We are
getting
not
hard disk.
selecting as a RAM.
With the RAM
We are
only.
selecting a size. Under that particular size, we are getting CPU and RAM. We are not selecting RAM. We are selecting a size.
Okay.
Under that particular size, we have a CPU and RAM.
Yeah, got it.
You have to be very careful with your
It's a
words,
kind of
Sachin.
VM type in that we will be getting it.
Not VM type,
Okay.
it's VM size. Don't use wrong terminologies. You have to be use correct terminology, because when you're going in the interview, the person is going to listen every single terminology which you are going to use. Okay? So
Okay.
that's why I'm trying to correct you. It's not VM type, it's VM size.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you have to be very careful. Yeah, I know that's not possible to remember on day one to remember these terminologies, but make sure in upcoming session you remember these terminologies. Any more question you have, Sachin?
Sure, thank you.
Anyone have any more question? Anyone have any more question? Someone has raised their hand and then they lower down their hand. Yes, you can unmute.
Yeah, Ankit Vijay here.
Yes, Vijay.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I
So
can
right
hear
now,
you.
whatever he has given the whatever they are you assigned the 4 GB right storage,
Sorry
then
to
so
interrupt you. I'm not assigning that 4 GB storage. By default, Azure is assigning this
exactly
4 GB to us because of the
yes
size we have selected. So I'm not assigning.
yes
By default, they are
yes
assigning.
okay exact correct Ankit. So what purpose we can utilize? So why it's a Azure allocate like based on different size, the 4 GB, 16 GB. So where we can use this four
We,
GB?
uh, Vijay, if you see my screen, it is clearly mentioned you can't store anything in this. Yeah, you can store it. If you want
Okay.
to store, you can store it. But if you lose your data, no one is responsible for that. You can't recover the data. Azure is not responsible for that. So that's what I say. Whenever you are using any computer, system is generating some caches. Yes, Vijay. Is it using
Oh,
or not?
okay. Okay, can you assume as this a temporary disk? Like,
That if you see here, it is clearly mentioned warning, this is a temporary disk.
okay, okay. So, for example, if you have once I turn off that server, then this temporary disk we lost. I'm right?
But yes, when you create a connect to machine again, you will get that particular disk again.
Okay. Ah, that's why only I'm small. So it's given that Azure that concept. So which purpose is given? So might be if any use. So that way,
That's
then
what I
only is
said.
assigned, right?
That's what I
Okay.
said. Your system is generating caches. They don't want caches, whichever system is generating, to use the one disk for which we are paying. They want to use this temporary disk to use those caches. Because for data
Oh,
disk we are paying to them. We are
exact,
not paying
exact.
for this local disk, the temporary disk. So they want to consume the caches whichever system is generating by this local disk.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
And this is completely a temporary disk. Don't store
Okay.
any data. If you store, you will lose, and no one is responsible for that.
Yes, yes. That's correct.
Okay. Anyone have any more question? Okay. No question. So we are able to create our Linux virtual machine using password. In tomorrow's session, we are going to learn about how to create your Windows virtual machine by using SSH key. And if you notice in this PPT, there is a link I have given it, how to associate public IP to virtual Azure VM. Now, in some of my PPTs, there are some self-learning videos you will get at the end. These topics are not added in our course content. Like this topic which is mentioned here, this topic you will not find in the course content. So there are some small topics you will find in some of my PPTs which you can learn whenever you have a free time. Just this is a video, you can watch that video, and then with the help of this video you can get information. If you want to remove the public IP from your virtual machine, you can remove also, because when we are creating a virtual machine we got the public IP, but you got a requirement now, you want to remove this public IP. you can remove. But if you got a requirement, you want to attach the public IP, you can attach the public IP to your virtual machine. So how to do that? That's a self-learning video is there. So whenever you have a free time, you guys can watch that recording and learn these things. You don't have to learn these things right now because these are not important topics. These are just for a self-learning. I have given it. Important topics are added in the course content. So these small topics is not added in the course content. Also, you will not find in the course content, but you can learn from here. If you have any doubt, you can email me or you can ask these topics questions in the upcoming session also. Yes, you can unmute.
Yeah, Ankit, and one more thing, like we are handling Azure IAM portion also here.
Which
Can you see
portion?
that? Azure IAM.
IAM. There is no service called IAM. There is service called Entra ID. The IAM
Okay.
is called as Entra ID. Earlier it was called as Active Directory, but now it has
Yeah.
been renamed as Entra ID.
Okay. So we will see here, how to create a users in that and then
Yes.
give
If
the
you remember
permissions.
it, on day one, I was discussing about something about tenant.
Yeah, yeah. Tenant. Yeah, tenant
Tenant
ID.
is used to create users.
Okay.
Without tenant,
Got
you can't create users.
it.
So if you
Okay.
need to create more users, you need tenant. We were discussing you can create more tenants also.
Yeah.
So those
So
things also we will
inside
learn
that
in
tenant.
upcoming session.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
How to
That's
create
enough.
more tenants, how to create
Mhm.
users. So we will
Yeah.
learn in upcoming session.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Sir. Yeah.
Anyone have any question, please let me know, or we can end this session here and make sure once you complete your practice, you can delete your resource group. Okay, look like no one has any questions, so let's just end this session here. In tomorrow's session, we will continue with how to create a Linux virtual machine using SSH key, and then we can learn about some of the basic Linux commands. Yes, you can unmute.
Yeah, Ankit, one more question. In the first session, you told me about like we'll create a Azure profile and all. So I have already created in my system, but I want
Azure
to know like,
account.
yeah, Azure account. And for suppose like 30 days is over, and after that we need to move to free pay as you go model, right? Pay as you go model.
Yes, but
So
your account is new, so you will move to pay as you go in 12 months free quota.
okay, so after 12 months, we need to like stop the subscription or services, right? Means
You
how?
don't have to do anything. If you're
Okay,
not using anything,
yeah.
if you don't have anything, they will not charge you.
Okay. Means we can keep our account as it is, right? We will not do
Yes,
anything.
my account is older than 2 years.
Okay, okay,
So I'm keeping it everything. If
okay,
you want to cancel your subscription, there's an option of cancel a subscription also we have here. Here is it. We have a cancel
okay,
subscription option also we have. So after 12 months, if you want to cancel it, you can cancel also. But you
okay,
don't have to do it. Just keep your account. Might be in future you need anytime. Just for a few minutes, you can check and you can practice also those things.
okay, okay, fine. So, and one more thing, like whenever you are creating some server or VM or something like that,
Mhm.
we need to delete it, right? Means because
That's
this
what
is
my
for practicing.
recommendation.
Yeah, this is for practicing purpose. That's why. Yeah.
Yes. Make
Okay.
sure you delete, don't keep it, because once your free quota is completed, you
It
can
will
get
be
a bill.
charged.
I don't want you to get those bills.
Okay.
Okay, so that's my
Mm.
recommendation. Make sure you delete everything. That's why in Azure there's a shortcut way we have. That's a good thing in Azure. It's not in other clouds. In Azure, it's a
Mm.
shortcut. With one single place, we have the source group where you can see all your services at one single place. Otherwise, in other clouds, if I talk about in AWS, you have to go to
Okay.
different places to delete everything.
Oh, okay.
That
So
is
that
difficult
is
part.
difficult part. Yeah.
Yes. So just delete a resource group. Till that time, we are not getting a deleted notification like here I got deleted for this one. But this one I didn't get. I can't close my browser right now. Once I get
Okay.
deleted, I can close my browser. If I close my browser right now, it will stop there.
Okay.
So this is
Yeah.
also you have to be very careful. Lot of my
Sure.
previous batch students had done this mistake. So that's why I'm telling you, don't do that mistake.
Okay. Sure, Ankit. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for joining today's session. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day, guys. Thank you.